Hey everybody, John with Vynyly here. You may remember a little while back we did a review of the Fosi Audio BT20A Bluetooth amplifier. Well, what I've got right here is the BT20A Pro, the next level up of Bluetooth amplifier from Fosi. So we're going to do a real quick review video here. I'll unbox this, set it up, show you how to set it up, and compare it to the BT20. Let you know what I think. Here we go. All right, so here's the box for the BT20 Pro. Opening up here. And the first thing that I notice is it's packaged opposite of the BT20. That's interesting. So we've got a little instruction manual here. Looks like a beefier power supply. This is a more powerful unit than the BT20. This one is 300 watts per channel for 2 channels. And here it is, the BT20A Pro. Very similar to the BT20. One big extra functionality here is the preamp out. You can attach this to an amplifier and add Bluetooth functionality to an older legacy amplifier that may not have Bluetooth built in. So once again, we've got the Bluetooth antenna already installed. Left and right speakers here, banana plugs or bare wires, and the RCA in just like the BT20, and the preamp out. That is going to be an interesting one. So we're going to take this out to the other room and set it up, see what we can put it through its paces, I guess, and see what it can do. Actually, before I take it out and set it up, I wanted to move the light around here so you can get a good view of it. I wanted to point out a couple of things here. First of all, this unit is a little heavier than the other one. Again, this one is a little bit beefier. It will get louder. I believe the BT20A is 100 watts per channel, and actually, let me check. Yes, the BT20A is 100 watts per channel. This one is 300 watts a channel, so it's a significant upgrade in power. And this preamp out, I mentioned that it could connect to legacy amplifiers, right? But it can also connect to a subwoofer, for example. And you could also connect this to powered speakers. So you have a lot more options with the BT20A Pro than you had with the BT20. One odd thing I do want to point out, make sure you're aware of here. The right speaker jack is actually on the left here, and the left speaker jack is on the right. So you might typically expect those to be reversed, but just be aware of that. If it's important to you in your setup where the right and left speakers are, then be aware that this is a little bit different than you might expect. So, all right, we've moved out to the living room now, and you can see where the BT20A Pro will live in my system, right on this shelf, right where I installed the BT20A original model. Link to that video up above, and here's a comparison of the two. So you can see the differences. The Pro is a little bigger. There are some other factors I'm going to point out here in just a few minutes so that you know some additional things that the Pro can do. I do like, there's the backs of the units. I do like a couple things here on the Pro. It still has that somewhat, I think, flimsy feeling power switch. But again, it uses such a small amount of power. I'm not going to have to keep turning that thing on and off. I'm going to leave it on. Other things are the volume control is bigger and is a different color. So makes it just a little bit easier to know what you're doing, which knob you're adjusting when you're adjusting these knobs. Also, the treble and bass here have a little indent at the 12 o'clock position. So when you're in the neutral position and you're not adding or subtracting any treble or bass, it will click in right to that 12 o'clock position, which is a nice little touch. The other thing the volume knob can do is you can push it in, hold it for 5 seconds, and it will clear all the Bluetooth memory, all the connection memory that it has, if you need to do that. On the back here, we've got the same kind of connections as on the BT20. RCA in here. If you want to put left and right audio into this thing, you can. And the preamp out. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. My use case here is the same use case as before. I have two passive speakers out on my porch outside, and I want to add Bluetooth functionality to those speakers. They don't currently have it. Again, they're passive speakers. They're not connected to power at all. This is going to connect to the speakers, and this is going to provide a Bluetooth connection for me to send Bluetooth signal out to my porch. The other thing this Pro level can do is the pre-out right here. I'm going to connect this to my amplifier inside. It's an older legacy Yamaha amplifier. Does not have Bluetooth functionality until I plug this into it. Now I'll be adding Bluetooth functionality not only to the porch outside, but also to my unit inside. So this is going to work really, really well for us, I believe. One other word of caution when you're connecting your speakers. I'm using bare wires here. I think I just jiggled the camera a little bit. I'm using bare wires here. You can see they're a little frayed. You want to make sure that these connections are nice and tight. So I use a pair of needle nose pliers to make sure these connections are nice and tight. These wires are a little bit thicker gauge than your normal speaker wires because it's such a long run out to my porch. So I make sure these are nice and tight. These posts can take spare speaker wires like I have, or banana plugs, which is great. I do want you to be careful when you're removing these caps. They do come all the way off. So don't get yourself in a position where you lose one of these. Just loosen them enough so that you can get to the holes to insert your speaker wires. Okay, and remember these are labeled kind of backwards to the way we normally would think, whereas the right is on the left and the left speaker is on the right. So I'm going to go ahead and wire this up, and then we'll take a look. All right, so I've got the Pro all wired up. I wire from different directions here just to make sure that the speaker wires don't short each other out. That's just something that I do. You don't have to do that. Bluetooth antenna is already installed, and I always like to connect the power last when I'm done fiddling around with all of this other stuff. So this is where it's going to live. I'll do it like this so you can see. And you just click the power on, the little red light comes on. You should know that if you have an RCA input and a Bluetooth signal going to this, the Bluetooth signal will take precedence. So if you want to use the RCA signal, make sure you don't have any Bluetooth signal going to this. And the blue light indicates that we are ready to pair. And I will get my phone paired, or actually I'll pair my tablet to this, and then we will see how it sounds. Now for the additional functionality of adding the Bluetooth receiver into my integrated amplifier, super easy. Just going to use one of these 3.5 millimeter plugs, put it right into the preamp like that, and then run this left and right audio to an open input on my amplifier, and I'll just use that as the Bluetooth channel on my amplifier. Super, super easy. Also, I wanted to point out one thing. I finally found a use for my Releno LED light. Little videos like this where we could use some extra illumination on the subject. So I'll get this plugged up again, and then we'll come back to recap. All right, so I'm out on the porch now, and we're going to give this thing a try. I'm probably about 40 feet away from the Bluetooth, the BT20A Bluetooth receiver, and iPad's connected via Bluetooth, of course. So we're going to play a song in the public domain, not in the public domain, but a song that is royalty free. Let's put it that way. Couple things to remember. This is YouTube, so you're not going to really hear the wide frequency range that you might want to hear, but at least I can demonstrate to you that this unit works really well. So I usually have the volume on the unit turned up a little higher so that I can control the volume on my device, whatever device I happen to be using. This thing will get loud. And that wasn't even all the way up. Couple things to mention here. Turn this down a little bit more. In my opinion, a Bluetooth amplifier should take the track that you're sending it and not color it too much. Just act as a Bluetooth receiver. Whatever you send it, it should process accurately, and then amplify it, put it on your speakers. This particular amp, the BT20A Pro, you can open it up and swap out the op amps if you're so inclined. Personally, it comes with the 5532, and that's a really solid kind of a baseline amp. A lot of people will use the 5532 as a baseline for their comparisons if they're swapping things out or testing different op amps. So it comes with a really solid op amp in the first place. If you're not into electronics tweaking, you're not going to have to worry about it. This one works really, really well. Also, I did take this out in the backyard, walked around, probably got about 100 feet away from the receiver. Worked great. This is Bluetooth 5.3 on the Pro if you're interested in that sort of thing. Good range. With Bluetooth 5 has a pretty good range. Yeah, overall it's a really, really solid unit. I like little touches like when you turn the bass and treble, there's that little notch at 12 o'clock to let you know that you're at 12 o'clock. That's a nice little touch. It's very powerful. Will get very loud. Will get a lot louder than you just heard. But overall, highly recommend the Fosi Audio BT20A Pro. And as far as I know, today you can get this unit for under $100, which is a steal. If you need to add Bluetooth functionality to something, this is a great unit to get.